All right. We're going to start with the rise of the Nazis, looking at fascism in Germany during the 30s.
And what's fascism? Are we going to see that later in this PowerPoint?
Fascism is a type of government that emphasizes militarism, nationalism, and dictatorship.
Doesn't sound good to me.
It's a little different than communism.
Hmm.
All right.
Wow.
And if you look at this quote, it says, "Make the lie big, make it simple, and keep saying it." This is a form of propaganda that Hitler is going to be extremely good at using.
This propaganda, he definitely was convincing people. So in Nazi Germany, he was the Führer, or the leader. And it looked like he was a soldier back in World War I. So I'm sure that helped his image, and with the nationalism going on and everybody being so loyal to the country. But he started to blame the Jews and make them the scapegoats. And scapegoat is when you're blaming someone for something that they didn't do. Just trying to find somebody to blame, somebody to point the finger at.
I just want to point out that, the world thought he was doing such a great job that even in the United States, they named him Man of the Year in 1938.
Wow, that is so crazy. But he used the Jews as the scapegoats for everything wrong in Germany. Losing World War I, Treaty of Versailles, the Depression going on, anything. Unemployment, anything people were struggling with. So Nazism, it's actually a type of government, and it was all about militarism, nationalism, anti-Semitism. What's anti-Semitism again?
Hatred of Jewish people.
Man.
All right. Now, this is something that it's a movement that was happening all over the globe, or all over Europe. You can definitely see here. Stalin, Hitler, Mussolini, all these guys were fascist leaders.
I know I've heard of Mussolini and Stalin before, and I know they were not some good guys.
Now, Stalin was more of a communist, but dictatorship.
Mm-hmm.
And Hitler was definitely the king of the fascists.
Oh, yeah.
But the one thing that they all had in common is they took advantage of desperate times and used that to create a dictatorship type of government.
Exactly, because who usually turns to support, communism or to support the, fascist leader? Well, first, they have the promise that they're going to be getting a job or something that's going to impact them immediately.
That is the key word, jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear that with Hitler, you hear that with Stalin, Mussolini. Jobs was the key.
Mm-hmm. So we know all about the Treaty of Versailles and how Germany was punished. So at that time, I was telling my students how, people were just embarrassed by the treaty because of that nationalism that was so popular. And because Germany was so broke, they had to borrow money from the U.S.
Okay. And now that only works up until the worldwide depression in 1929. Mm-hmm. Remember, the stock market crashes 10/29. They call it Black Monday of 1929. And when that happens, Germany is up the creek without a paddle.
So people, they were really blaming the government. They thought that the government was to blame for these problems. So that was a nice way for Hitler to just slide right in and make promises for changes. And so the government was forced to go into debt making these payments.
You can look at this chart and it shows you. So this is how much their money was worth. So this is like a normal value, 1914 when the war starts. All right, so $1 US is worth 4 of their dollars. And then by the time we get down here to 1923, that $1 US is worth
That looks like $1 trillion, huh?
Is that $1 trillion?
Oh my gosh.
That looks like $1 gazillion to me.
I know, that's just ridiculous.
And so at this point, Germany ran out of money, and the government just started printing money. All right, and then finally people stopped accepting it.
So that must have caused hyperinflation.
Hyperinflation. All right, well, that means the value of goods, the prices of goods go way up, but the value of the money goes way down.
Hyper means even faster, way faster than usual.
Way faster. But that helped one person, Adolf Hitler.
Sure did.
All right, the people needed somebody in Germany, and they turned to the man who promised to help, promised to get them out of this mess, and that was Adolf Hitler.
To help the economy out. He promised, he said, look, forget Treaty of Versailles, whatever. We shouldn't have been to blame. So guess what? We're just going to stop paying. We're about to start getting everything, building up our military to make Germany great again and strong again like we once were. And he did not care at all about the Treaty of Versailles.
And the League of Nations at that time, which was like the UN today, was so weak that they couldn't do anything about what he when he started violating the Treaty of Versailles.
So his Nazi party, they actually were, a lot of them were elected. It was not that he just came in taking over. I mean, he made promises to the people. Initially, a third, a majority, actually, of the seats in parliament, they were filled by people in his Nazi party that they were voted in, they were elected.
And that's why they made him chancellor, all right, which is sort of like our vice president, second in charge. But he is quickly going to figure out how to take that position and make himself dictator for life. Now, I want you to see one of his, like, really, really great speeches.
I heard he was a charismatic speaker.
All right, this is the one talent that he really had.
The days of despair and hardship are over. Today begins a new order. All of Europe will tremble as Germany takes its rightful place as ruler of the world.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, as I was saying, the time for victory is upon us.
Victory up, baby. Yeah, come on.
A new world, a better world, a German world.
Yeah, Germinator. I'll be back. Whoa! Yeah!
We will emerge as the dominant people.
And it's all because of you guys. You know what? You guys with your marching and your letters and your phone calls, this is all thanks to you. So you made this happen. You guys, you know, my God, give yourselves a round.
Okay, that was obviously not Hitler, but you get the idea of how popular he was. Yeah. All right. This wheel just gives you some ideas about totalitarianism, what it is, and how they use various pieces of the government to control not just the government, but everybody.
Looks like they even had control of technology, the media, everything.
And this secret police force in Germany, they call it the Gestapo. All right, the Gestapo. All right, this is really, you didn't know who was in the Gestapo, but you didn't want to say anything bad about the Nazi Party because the Gestapo was always listening.
You never knew till people were really living in fear.
Now, the big difference between Nazis and communists, fascists believe that you can keep your private property. Communists want to take over all of the property.
Okay, so that's even another reason for people to be supportive of Hitler and the Nazi Party early on.
This is why the wealthy supported him. Okay, I got one last thing for you to do. I got 3 little questions here. You're going to give me a little chart about the rise of Nazis, and here I'll give you one. They used propaganda to make Hitler look like a savior to the Germans. All right, so I want you to give me 2 more causes, 3 effects, and then answer these little questions here. Wait a minute, I got another effect. There you go. It's going to lead to the Holocaust. Okay. All right. So answer 1 and 2 and 3, bring that in on a separate sheet, and I will see you tomorrow.